Good morning, and it is morning. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to make our favorite steel cut oats. This morning we'll do apples and cinnamon. Sometimes we do berries and cream, but my husband's getting ready for work, and I need to get this done, so I decided I might as well film it. Still in pajamas and everything. So we'll get started with that, and I want to show you how to do it even faster than usual with no chopping required. And we're going to do that using freeze-dried apples. So I'll show you how I prep those very fast and we'll get started. Okay, we're going to get started with our freeze-dried apples. These are our favorite brand, obviously. And these are the Fuji apples that we'll be using. I like that they still have the peel on them. These are the smaller cans, but they come in larger cans as well. And so I'm making a big batch of the oats because, as you know, I like to portion them out in small containers and keep them in the fridge so that in the mornings we just pull one of those out and warm it. Sorry, my voice is a little froggy this morning, but that's okay. So here we have I'm going to be using 2 cups of apples because that's how many oats I'm making. I'll be using 2 cups of the steel cut oats. So I want at least a serving of fruit per serving of oats. So you can see these are heaping cups full of these freeze-dried apples. Let me just show you what those look like up close. They're actually delicious. So anyway, they're a great snack too. So I'm going to zip that shut, but not all the way. I'm going to leave just a little bit open for air. And then I'm just going to use my trusty rolling pin. And I just smash. And roll. So for this, that's about the size that I want of the apples. You can actually pulverize these all the way down to powder. It doesn't take very long. It's pretty easy. I often do that with fruits for different applications in cooking, but we want it a little chunky for the oats. So let's go put these in the pot. So I'm using a larger cooking pot since it's a larger batch, and I'm going to go ahead and start with 8 cups of water. The ratio for the oats and the water is 4-to-1. So I'm going to be doing 2 cups of the oats, and I already had some water in here, and I just put in some more. So now I have 8 cups of water. Let me go ahead and get that started cooking. And you can use any brand of the steel cut oats. The reason I just use the store brand because it's the least expensive. The reason the steel cut oats are so good, they're even a little more nutritious for you than the rolled oats, because steel cut, they're still, let me just show you what they look like. The grain is still intact. It has been chopped a little bit, but it hasn't been ground or rolled out. And so the more intact a grain is, the better it is for your digestive system and your gut health. And so that's why, whole grains are great, whole grain breads, whole grain cereals, but even those are not going to be as good as a more intact grain. So that's why, one reason why this cereal is a favorite of ours is it's really checking the boxes for nutrition and health, which we're always going for. In a whole food plant-based diet, you don't want to just be avoiding the bad stuff. You really, really, really want to be seeking out the good to just give your body all of the fuel that it needs to do its magic. So this is 2 cups of the steel cut oats, and I'm just going to go ahead and put those in the water, which is already warming. I'm going to be bringing it to a boil. And then the only other things we add, I'm of course going to put in the apples. So yeah, I do put those in right from the start to cook with the oats. This way you get every bit of powder. Did not have to chop or prep those in any way, which I love. Then I do add brown sugar. I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of brown sugar for all of this. You don't have to. We've done it many times in the past without. You can sweeten it when you warm it to eat it. And you can use a different sweetener like maple sugar or, maple syrup or honey, which is perfectly fine. But I'm just, that laziness is coming out, and also my desire to save money a little bit. And this is a cheap way to sweeten it. And I figure it's okay to use a little bit of sugar because there's so little of it in ratio to the oats and the apples. So, because literally that is 1 tablespoon for, well, 2 tablespoons for every cup of the oats and the apples. So 2 tablespoons doesn't seem like a lot. And then we use a lot of cinnamon. I use up to 2 tablespoons of cinnamon. It's because spices are really good for you, and we like the flavor, but some people think this is more than they like. So I would start with 1 tablespoon, well, for a big batch like this, and then add more to taste, just to make sure it's to your preference. And again, this is a big batch. The recipe that I'm going to put in the description is going to be half this recipe. So a smaller amount. We're doubling the recipe in the description today. So let me put in the cinnamon. And that's kind of growling at me. So what I want to do is bring this to a boil, and then we'll put it on a simmer, a medium to low simmer, and we will just let it cook for 20 minutes. And then we will check it out. So there's what it looks like. Hopefully you can see that. It's going to cook together really nicely. It smells so good. Let me just give you a good view of that. Okay, we'll be back when this has had some time to simmer. While that's cooking, I thought I would show you some of the other fruits that we like to use in this cereal. So if we're not doing the apples and cinnamon, we'll sometimes do strawberries and blueberries. I like to mix these and just call it berries and cream. I don't actually add anything in there to make it creamy per se, but you know, when you add the plant milk at the end, then you got your creaminess. So I do the same thing with these berries that I do with the apples. I just put them in a Ziploc and crush them with the rolling pin. These crush up even faster than the apples, and the flavor and nutrition are so good. Freeze-dried has the same nutrition as fresh, so the convenience of it coupled with that fact make it a favorite of ours for plant-based cooking when you don't want to be stuck in the kitchen all day long and you want fresh, healthy food. So we'll be back when the cereal is done. Okay, our time is up. So let me show you what this looks like. I'm going to turn it off. So you can see it has thickened up quite a bit, but it's still not as thick as it's going to be. It's going to thicken more as it cools. I already dipped some out for my husband because he had to leave, but this is what that looks like, all cooked up. So then I did turn the heat off. Just get that closer so you can take a look at it. And then it's going to thicken more as it cools. And then we'll go ahead and portion it out into these containers. We usually do 3/4 of a cup of the cereal, and this will make 8 or so little containers, which is enough for both of us to have it periodically throughout the week, and it will last a week in the fridge. And then, as you remember, we like to add the chopped up chickpeas to make the nutrition higher, and that's in another video. But we love these. They are just, it's so wholesome, so hearty. We know it is checking the boxes of a lot of the nutrients that we need, a fruit serving, those whole grains, and lots of nutrients and protein and all beans. So all of it is good for you. So I hope that you enjoy this as much as we do. It smells heavenly. It's a January morning, very cold outside, almost single digits, and wow, this will warm you to your soul. And so enjoy that, and thank you for being with us today. Something else that I feel is important about these oats is that if you don't like oatmeal, you might like these. So do give it a try. Just because I detest oatmeal, or always have my whole life. I hate the texture of it. And so, and there were a few elementary school experiences that still linger in my brain as it not being great. So I just don't like it at all. But I do like the steel cut oats. It's a completely different texture. It's reminiscent of like a 9-grain cereal. So it's a little bit chewy. It doesn't feel slimy. Sorry that I had to say that word in a food video. So I would recommend giving it a try, even if you don't like oatmeal, just for that. And I've gone ahead and dished it up. I just thought I would show you. Got my chickpeas in there and my plant milk, and stirring it up. And that is it, ready to go. And it is very perfect on a cold winter morning or any other time besides.